Welcome back. According to World Bank's Global Gas Flare Tracker report, Nigeria is placed among 9 countries that emit up to 75% of global gas flare. What does this mean for the country, and how can this be curbed? We caught up with an environmentalist, Mr. Chima Williams, who spoke to us on a number of issues, including how gas flare can be stopped in the country. He is the executive director of the Environmental Defenders Network. Hear him. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, my sister, for having me.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on your new network, the Environmental Defenders Network. It's a pleasure to know you are still moving forward. So what do you make of the World Bank Global Gas Flare Tracker report, which talked about Nigeria as one of the 9 countries that contribute about 75% of gas flares that's globally emitted?
Yeah, well, thank you first and foremost for recognizing our new organization and a new initiative, which is still to keep the struggle for the environmental defenders to protect the environment and continue the struggle on environmental justice, from the communities and states of Nigeria to the world. Yeah, on the issue of the 2023, report that has put Nigeria among the 9, biggest flarers in the world, it didn't come to some of us as a surprise. Okay, rather, it came as a confirmation of the position that we've always maintained. When the multinationals and the Nigerian government claims that gas flaring had been reduced in Nigeria, we say, no, that's not correct. Okay, but yes, I agree that there are circumstances that makes gas flaring difficult in some areas. But to say that you've reduced the incidence of gas flaring, where is the intentionality in doing that? It is not just something that you wake up and say, we have reduced. What are the parameters that you've put in place, the calculations, which oil fields have you shut down because of their gas flaring emissions, to now reduce the gas flare footprint. Okay, so when you have not done that, you continue to deceive the populace, the people, and continue to talk about your reduction capacities when you have actually done nothing. And we dissent that also from the gas flare tracker that is managed by NOSDRA. Even though, yes, NOSDRA puts a disclaimer on the fact that the reports that the calculations that they've made may not be 100% accurate, but at least it is an indication to where we are going to. And the argument of reduction, again, boils down to the issue of, trying to dodge responsibility because there are penalties to be paid for the quantum of gas flared.
Okay, but Nigeria has actually put several dates to end gas flaring. Now we are talking about reduction. I think it was 2007 was the first date, and then they went ahead to 2010, then 2013. But we still have gas being flared today. We're talking about reduction. What happened to those dates of ending gas flaring?
Well, those dates, if we recall, came as a result of pressure from civil society, community people, both locally and globally, campaigning and calling for an end to gas flaring. And it had already gotten even to the crescendo where the National Assembly, it was the 8th Senate, that had passed the gas flaring prohibition and punishment bill, waiting for concurrence from the lower chambers, which never came, and that destabilized that process. Before this, too, as a result of pressure, there was an attempt by the Federal Ministry of Environment when they were enacting the Nigerian Environmental Management, bill, the processes towards getting a law that governs the environment in Nigeria. Now, that was purposely, as we later found out, that process, which was sponsored and supported by the multinationals, was just to push the government and shift the end date of gas flaring from 2008 to 2010. Okay? And when that did not succeed, because at the public hearing and review of that bill, it was adopted hook, line, and sinker that gas flaring should end. Immediately that bill is assented to by Mr. President. Okay? And that never happened, because after that agreement, every other effort to make that happen from the executive arm failed. It never worked. And some months later, the then Minister of Environment, a lady that I respect, was fired as minister. And for us, we think that it was because of, the agreement on ending gas flaring, which was the practical reason why the OPTS supported that bill. So it never saw the light of the day. So it is not actually that there's been no moves to end gas flaring, but the political will. That is why after several years, after many dates being shifted, now we are coming back to talk about reduction. Okay? Now, because we equally will remember that the last administration, Mr. President, in his first international outing on environment in 2016, after he became the president of Nigeria, did make the promise that gas flaring was going to end in Nigeria by 2020. And it got to 2020, like Charlie Boy will say, it don't run away from 2020. So it ran away from 2020 to now 2030, and now it is 2060. So, and we are talking of reduction, okay, which has not happened in any case. You are saying it with your mouth. Nigeria has moved forward as one of the first African countries. There are two of them that had passed their climate change laws, okay? And then you are having the climate change law, and in one hand, and at the other hand, you are, searching for new oil finds in the country, using resources of the government, of the people of Nigeria, to search for something that will kill them.